All right, so I'm Neil Drumm. I work for the Drupal Association on the engineering team. So yeah, my immediate coworkers on the engineering team are also Tim Lennon, Brendan Blaine, and Fran. And we have infrastructure partners at Tag One, Narayan and Max. So the four of us or six of us do a lot of the stuff to support Drupal.org, the website, and related services. So I'm going to talk about three big projects we've been doing: an infrastructure rebuild, Drupal migration, and issue migration. So for the infrastructure rebuild, Drupal.org actually for the past 10 plus years, 20 years has been hosted on hardware. That's aging, and we're gradually moving things to the cloud, AWS specifically. So we started with dedicated servers, then we started slicing those servers up into virtual machines. So we'd have 4, 5, 6, 7 servers on one piece of hardware. And then we added AWS for CI because CI is it's the exact use case for Spot instances for AWS. And then kind of next, get.drupalcode.org, our GitLab installation outgrew the hardware, so we shifted it over to a pretty sizable AWS instance, a couple of them, so we have a hot spare. And now what we're doing in the midst of right now is switching over to Kubernetes for modern hosting and kind of shifting everything out of the hardware. And we'll use every bit of functionality the hardware has as long as the electricity we're putting into it is worth it. But for non-essential things, dev and staging and CI. And this was accelerated earlier this month because the hardware needed to physically move to a different data center about 45 minutes down the road. So everything had about 3-hour outage because you have to do cable management and everything on either end. So before that, www.drupal.org, the legacy Drupal 7 site, that got shifted to Kubernetes. We've been working on it for that shift for weeks or maybe a couple months, but then we got to the deadline and finished that. And there are a couple things that we're still catching up on, but it was overall pretty successful, not too noticeable an outage from the outside. The other subsites, localized.drupal.org, security.drupal.org, stuff like that didn't make the cut before getting into Kubernetes before that. So those did have about 3-hour outage while the servers were driven across Oregon. And only one piece of hardware didn't come back up. There was one virtual machine host that the machines were still there, but it didn't know how it was hypervisor or whatever VMware, the VMware itself didn't know what its configuration was. But all that's redundant. So we're down to one web server, but that's fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. So how we're using AWS and all of the newer cloud services, using AWS's managed services for MySQL, RabbitMQ. I don't know what the 3-letter acronyms are offhand for those, but AWS has them. Pretty big EC2 instance we use GitLab's Omnibus installation, which basically is GitLab's package for running all of GitLab on one server. GitLab has Postgres, Sidekick, a bunch of Ruby, Rails, and Rails adjacent things in it. and of course their Git server and everything. And for the Drupal sites themselves and their related services, we're containerizing as much as possible. Shifting over to Pulumi for infrastructure as code. Switching from Puppet to Ansible for configuration management. We use Ansible for the EC2 VMs mostly. And Jenkins, we had all of like the cron jobs, like run the Drupal's drush cron and all of that in Jenkins, but that's now a Helm cron job. And then Argo workflows for more complicated things like packaging, which is multiple steps that go out to multiple types of services. So Drupal migration. Drupal.org is actually a few websites. And this is kind of where we started, probably a couple years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And so events, and all of these have been on Drupal 7, and actually groups.drupal.org is on Drupal 6 still. And yeah, we've been rebuilding and porting and migrating everything. So events.drupal.org, that was rebuilt from scratch. API.drupal.org was kind of ported one-to-one. It's just API.drupal.org is basically a single module, the API module that parses Drupal code bases. Association.drupal.org, we got rid of it. We merged it into Drupal.org itself. I'll talk more about this later, but www.drupal.org, that's progressively migrating via new.drupal.org. Security.drupal.org, that's my big project right now. I'm merging that into git.drupalcode.org and www.drupal.org. I'll talk a bit more about that one too. Localized.drupal.org, that has some volunteers that are porting it. It's kind of in the same situation as API, where it's a handful of modules which are have all the functionality, and it's in some ways a simple site as far as like it does one thing, but that one thing does have a little bit more complexity. Jobs, that is our job board. We don't have a plan for it yet. We might port it and upgrade it. We might replace it with like some sort of white label service, like, I don't know, Indeed, or I don't know all the job boards offhand. And groups.drupal.org, that's probably moving into Drupal.org itself as well. So a little bit about the new .drupal.org transition. So we've been trying to centralize the sites so we have less to manage, but then that means we do have this one big site that's hard to move around. So we're kind of hosting it on 2 domains right now and migrating content type by content type. So the first big thing you probably saw was contribution records if you're working in the issue queues for Drupal. And case studies. Those we kind of have to work our way from the leaves of the tree to the root. Case studies didn't have a lot of dependencies on other content types. Organizations are next. That'll be more of a preview because organizations reference out to a lot of things that are not migrated yet. So that'll be kind of a edit on Drupal 7. It'll show up on the new.drupal.org 5 minutes later when the migrations run for some amount of time. Landing pages. For one of the Drupal cons, we would make a big splash with the homepage, Drupal SMES marketing, industry pages. So those got done a little earlier. those are still kind of half on the old site, half on the new site. And functionality, we're starting to move some functionality, build any new functionality, we build it on Drupal, new.drupal.org whenever we can. So recipe browsing and the site template marketplace are a couple of big things for now. We originally wanted to try to seamlessly do this, so it's just was www.drupal.org and seamlessly routed to one site or the other, but there were just too many collisions. I think the figuring out where route system / Ajax was where I called it. It's like, no, we can't. It can't fake having two websites in one. We have to have two websites. And yeah, when everything moves off of www.drupal.org and we can shut the old site down, then new.drupal.org will take back over. So think of them as the same websites, but one of them's halfway migrated and the other one's being unbuilt. So, issue migration. Issues are migrating to GitLab. That's going project by project. The first few projects have migrated. So as of when I took this screenshot earlier today, it's about 1,700 issues have been migrated. And right now it's kind of on pause because of those infrastructure migrations I talked about earlier. And we always have like various things that want to be highlighted for DrupalCon, so those are getting done for next week. Just a reminder, projects and releases are staying on Drupal.org because they're a bunch of metadata and content. They're not code, so all of the things like which organizations support a project, all of the kind of browsing and everything. That's not something a tool like GitHub or GitLab does. And Drupal coordinates specific packaging for Drupal projects, and also the composer integration. I'll quickly go through some of the stuff that kind of led up to this and like why it's not just a simple switch over to issues. We did a lot of prep work. So if you'd been working in Drupal, 3 years ago, you'd be posting patch files to issues. And we switched that over to merge requests and GitLab CI. We had kind of a home-built CI system called Drupal CI. But of course, GitLab doesn't integrate with either of those, and GitLab CI has been really great to work with. Decoupling issues from the site. So, when you have a big Drupal site, you just make entity reference fields, views, and everything works because it's all in the same database. We have these things, for example, like change records. They reference the issues, but we can't have a entity reference field to something that's not in the Drupal database because issues will no longer be there. So a lot of things like converting that field to a URL field. So the URL might point to Drupal, and then when it gets migrated, it'll point to GitLab. And anywhere we're doing like a count of the issues, that's just not going to happen. We can't make a query to a database and just count things. Rebuilding the issue credit. So issue credit, that became a really important system to the Drupal community, and so we want to preserve that. GitLab doesn't have any sort of equivalent concept, and GitLab's not extendable in the same way as Drupal. So we rebuilt it on Drupal 10, and separate from the issue system, but connected. Security issues. So security.drupal.org, that uses a lot of the same code base as Drupal.org issues, and we want to completely vacate that code base and rely on GitLab. And also GitLab has this little turn on confidentiality checkbox for every issue, and we can't change that or remove it or anything, so we're working with it. So security issues are confidential issues. And then, GitLab's also not built for having a security team the same way we do. So if I were to file a confidential issue with the project, it would tell the project maintainers, but not the security team. And we want the security team involved to, triage the issue and figure out what to do if the maintainer doesn't solve the issue in a timely manner. So what happens when you open a confidential issue is we have some automation that you see through the Drupalbot account that makes a private fork of the project that lets us do access control just for that issue. And then since it's a fork, we have the branches and can make private merge requests. So if a fix is needed, there's good tools to collaborate. It's a little bit of context about the security support of the project, and kind of helps guide the maintainers through the advisory process. So some of the automations include, we have some / commands to add access. So if a new maintainer comes on, we can add them, or if if another person needs access as a subject matter expert. If an advisory is needed, there's integration with the security advisory drafting right on Drupal.org. And we have some GitLab triage bot reminders set up. So if something's been in a status of I need to review for over 2 weeks, it'll nudge the issue and tell people to what the next steps are according to the issue labels. So back to the overall issue migration. We've migrated a handful of projects. Here you see the GitLab templates project. Some of the, and also I want to note that we're migrating every issue, even the closed issues. We need to do that because we want to completely get out of the business of managing code for issues, and we can't really make a static site of the old issues. We want it in a good format that's new issues can reference closed issues, and if we need to make any sort of data updates, like someone deletes their account and requests their name to be taken off the issues, we can do that. A lot of what we've been doing the last few weeks, a few months and more, has been chasing down edge cases, like all of the kind of edge cases with converting Drupal's HTML-ish content to Markdown formatting. A real fun bug was we have an array of labels that we build for each issue as we're migrating to GitLab. If that array is not consecutively indexed, it just silently discards the rest of the array after that you skip one of the array keys. Managing automated comments and queue congestion. So as these issues are imported, the Drupal 10 site does its automations, like sets up the contribution record and everything. And we need to triage all the unpublished issues. Issues might have been unpublished for two reasons. Either some automated spam protections caught them, or we went to unpublish it because it looked like a security issue and handle it through the security process. But we're migrating everything, so those unpublished issues either need to be deleted, published, or moved into the security process. One real fun one was when we import issues, we don't want to send people notifications for the last 20 years of issues they've been posting. Which, yeah, that's easy. We can turn off notifications per project. But we found that GitLab queues those notifications, which is great. I did the same thing for building Drupal's issue notification system. But if you fill up that queue and re-enable the project's notifications and that queue is still full, it'll start sending notifications. So I got to write some Ruby code because GitLab's a Ruby on Rails project. And I didn't actually write this. I had some AI write it, and I still can't really read Ruby code. But yeah, basically hacked together something at the Rails console that, which is kind of like Drush PHP script, which will loop and look for projects that have the notifications turned off, and it'll turn those notifications back on when their queue is empty. Well, a couple notes about how you use issues in GitLab. All of the kind of fields we had for metadata, we have a separate field for category, component, priority state. Those are all labels now. Some of those labels are scoped labels, so you can have, let's say, the priority. Priority has to either be normal or critical, or one of the other two. You can't have multiple priorities. But some of them, like version, we're opening that up, so you can assign multiple versions to a single issue. And also, maintainers are the ones who manage these options, individual project maintainers. So if a project maintainer decides, you know what, I don't want priorities on issues, they can get rid of those. Or if they want to change it to a different system, and instead of normal, critical, low, have it be 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever they want.
Can maintainers make their own scope labels?
Yes, yeah.
Entirely?
Yeah, they're completely up to maintainers. So yeah, they can add more. And the people who are not maintainers, people who are just reporting an issue, they cannot make labels. So issue tags, yeah, no more arbitrary issue tags. We get all the GitLab feature sets. So this is issue boards. So if you think issue boards will make you more productive and more organized, there's a good chance they might. They're there. You get to use them. So what's next? Next slide, I'll have a link to the issue, like the meta issue. But yeah, there's a issue for projects that are opted in. We're going through that list of projects that are opted in. Mostly so far, we've done projects that are the Drupal Association manages. So, when we find bugs like we're sending notifications we didn't think we were sending, we're mostly just spamming ourselves. But yeah, we are getting into those opt-in projects, and kind of, this is not a strict list of what goes when, but once we're at the end of that, we'll look at making GitLab issues the default for new projects. We don't want to do that too early because we don't want people making new projects to shortcut getting their issues migrated. And then migrate the kind of, in general, go from low risk, low usage on up to more complex projects. At some point, we're going to have to do some GitLab infrastructure improvements. The migrated issues, those are going to at least double, probably triple or quadruple the database size. And yeah, that's when we should probably get like the GitLab's Postgres installation into a dedicated Postgres installation instead of having it share everything on the same EC2 instance with the rest of GitLab. And let's see. Yeah, the kind of big projects that are high volume, high risk, Drupal core, Drupal CMS, we'll work with the maintainers to coordinate like when's the least disruptive time to do a migration. And yeah, work our way up from there, and absolutely everything gets migrated. So the plan issue there, that's kind of the with GitLab issues. Watch the Drupal infrastructure and GitLab channels and Drupal Slack. Help test things when you can. And yeah, support the Drupal Association so we can pay our AWS bills and payroll and everything. And that is it. We'll have a little time for questions.
Yeah, I got a few.
Sure.
No, I'll ask all the questions. So first of all, I'm thinking just feature sets down the line for the first question. This is not what you talked about here, but I was thinking about what about like like bots for maintainers?
So yeah, bots for maintainers. Yeah, I mean GitLab. Actually, core maintainers are doing kind of stuff with bots already. Like, yeah, make a personal access token.
So because it works with outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. All right, so that's good.
Yeah, one thing I set up for the security team triage bot is the I think it's called GitLab. I skipped right past it. I didn't use the actual name, did I? Oh, GitLab Triage. So GitLab Triage, that's a Ruby gem that takes a YAML file that's a big list of rules of look for issues in this state and do these actions. So we have that running. That part is running in GitLab CI. So yeah, it has a personal access token that we give it to itself, and yeah, it updates the issues according to those.
So ostensibly, any maintainer can potentially do that.
Yep.
Yeah, we use that internally, like on our own separate GitLab for non-Drupal stuff. Okay, so.
And yeah, the core maintainers are doing that already for stuff like the needs review bots and retargeting the merge requests. They switched from 11x to main. And yeah, they just decided to hack together a little, any piece of code you can call a bot to iterate through all the merge requests and retarget as possible.
The second thing is more like a request. Can you explain the security issue and merge request migration, or like the new process again to me? Just have the slides there. I mean, you're like,
yeah. I think we should sit down after and look at it.
That would be fun.
Because, yeah, I took a few, the screenshots are from a closed issue and basically cropping out most of the details anyway. But yeah, I also want to see people using it and improve it. 'Cause there's going to be rough edges. It's just not enough people have used it to find all of the rough edges.
My third question was how do you like writing Ruby, but you already covered that. So. The third question was how do you like writing Ruby, but you already covered that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, there's punctuation in places that I don't understand. I don't understand why they spell class with a K. But I think that's because this is Sidekick, so maybe Sidekick has classes with a K because Sidekick has a K.
Always enjoy a little wordplay, right?
Yeah. But yeah, this one, yeah, I asked, I think some sort of Claude code to do this, and it was like, asked it to simplify it about 3 times, and then got to something that looked like something I liked. Yeah.
Just curious, for the project that you were mentioning kind of at the beginning, the like infrastructure rebuild, I'm just curious, like what made you guys want to go with AWS over Azure or Google Cloud?
So we have the most experience with AWS,
Right.
and yeah, honestly, like AWS is in a position where like no one's going to question you if you go with AWS.
Right.
And yeah, the initial use for CI, we used Spot instances. I forget if there's another word, but there's a class of EC2 instances, Spot instances, where you pay half price for, maybe it'll go away. That's perfect for CI. We don't keep them for more than nowadays. We don't keep them for more than a few minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I know it's obviously the most it's the most common, and so but obviously if folks are a bit more like vendor agnostic, right? Like there's also that kind of component to it, like that having like some folks I've talked to, it's like they may have, their organization may have a deeper like evaluation process, or like you mentioned, based on the skill of the team, etc. Or certain security requirements, locality requirements, or localization, whatever. So.
Yeah, and my understanding is all of the Kubernetes stuff is even more portable. We are using some of the AWS managed services for like the database and RabbitMQ, but I'm sure they all have those nowadays. Or you can, for something like RabbitMQ, you could probably get that in a container.
Yeah,
it's not that complex of a service. All right, I think that's good for the recording.